Name Natasha from the 1980s, you will probably remember. And if I was to say Natasha England was Natasha, who had that, well, big top 20 hit, Iko Iko, back in 1982, and she's with me now, you'll be going, wow, Natasha's on BBC Radio Devon, and here she is. Hello, how are you today?
I'm fine, Richard. It's good to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you as well. You've been away. Well, when I say you've been away for a long time, you haven't. I mean, you've been involved in the music business from before the 1980s through the 80s and beyond as well, haven't you?
That's right. I had to pay the rent and I wanted to be in a band, so I figured the best place to go was work in the music industry and learn my trade. Yeah.
So when did you start, without being rude?
About 17, 18.
Yeah.
I worked for David Bowie's I landed my first job with David Bowie's manager.
Wow.
Tony DeFries, and I worked just down the road, Regent Street there. That was my first job. I started off as assistant secretary to Diana Graham, who went on to run BMG, and Nicky Graham, who's one of the top guys at CBS.
Yes, of course.
He played on the Bowie stuff. He played piano, a very accomplished keyboard player. And he did all the Spider stuff, and he was Tony's right-hand man, him and Diane.
So how was that as an introduction to the music business? Because many people, you know, will want to get into the music industry and want to have that quest for fame as it is in 2008, but that's very much a different route into it, isn't it, that you took there?
Well, I had certain secretarial skills, and it seemed to me the most obvious thing to do. And I was lucky. I talked my way through the interview and landed the job straight away. I loved it. I started off as assistant secretary and ended up being Tony's PA. We were going to manage Bowie in this country. Myself and Nicky Graham were going to run that. That was the plan at the time. But we set up Main Man and went through the Ziggy stuff, and it was an amazing time. I looked after Lou Reed. I looked after Iggy Pop. Some great times, some great memories.
Okay, so you obviously met all these guys, as you say, Iggy Pop, etc., and Bowie as well?
Oh, yeah, I had close contact with Bowie. I think I bought his underwear at one point.
Really?
And Angie...
No, hang on, let me just clarify that. When you say you bought his underwear, you bought his new underwear for him to use as opposed to afterwards.
Oh, yeah, I didn't buy his underwear he'd been wearing. No. We took very much to do with most things. He was just married to Angie Bowie at the time.
Yeah.
And she was around. She was quite a charismatic person as well. Yeah, we took to do with everything management do.
Well, it sounds like it was a very interesting time. And then, of course, you went on to front the Flirts.
It was great. It was two American girls, Jackie Burns and her sister. Whose name escapes me for a second. Jackie and... I'll think of it in a minute. I know it so well. They were American. They were from Flatbush, Brooklyn. Betty Burns was the other lady. She worked for Screen Gems. I think she actually sang on the original Buggles video, Killed the Radio Star. And they wanted to do that type of music. They wanted to get a band, but they weren't lead singers. And I got to know them, and they asked me to join the band. We did the recordings for Magnet at the time, and the actual single, we did get airplay on that. And unfortunately, Magnet, like so often happens, didn't get the records in the shops for about 4 weeks. Simon Bates actually played at a road show once, and he said, that was so good, I'm going to play it again. And he did. So, but it was at the time then that they needed to see movement in the charts. It was just a breakdown with distribution. So after that, I got the opportunity, or I wanted to do something else, and it turned out that I went on to do solo.
Yes, your solo career, obviously, Iko Iko is the big hit that you had here in the UK. I mean, it was covered by, well, it's been covered by lots of people.
Lots of people.
Many people might say Bell Stars, but yours was more successful than the Bell Stars at the same time, wasn't it, really?
I did outsell them quite a lot. I think they got to number 47, and I got to number 9.
Yeah.
I believe that I sold, I sold a phenomenal amount of records. It was a different chart system there. But I was told at one time I sold as many as the number 1. But I got chart position 9. They came along later and had hits after that. But yes, they actually brought it out the same week as me. There's a long story for that. They did rush release it on me.
Right.
They heard it as a white label, and they had plans to bring it out, and they weren't going to release it. But in the end, they rush released it, and they were both out at the same time. But I won that particular race.
Yeah,
so
well, good.
that was good. But the girls, I met them, I did shows with them down your way somewhere, and I turned up with my dog, my Great Dane, who I took everywhere, and they had 7 Bell Stars, and I broke the ice and just wished them luck with everything.